Jeff, sorry, Bruno, you're last in this round. A favourite example of innovation, you know, something that excites you from your world in Hewlett-Packard Enterprise.
So I think for me, working for a technology company, it's absolutely fantastic. Everybody talking about how technology is going to take us forward, how it needs to innovate, and then some great points around sort of the amount of data that's out there and what we can do with it. I understand there are issues around sort of privacy and security going forward, and they're challenges for the industry at the end of the day. But for us, it really is, when Jeff was talking about the amount of data out there, that is going to grow exponentially. It's absolutely going to be huge. There are already billions of devices connected to the Internet of Things. As we go forward, there'll be more and more devices, everything from interconnected cars to your appliances at home, all talking to each other. Energy's key, so it's about how do you reduce the amount of energy. Your washing machine might come on in the middle of the night and it'll know whether your neighbour's machine is on so that we can share energy between all of us. It's things like that. And one of the examples where I think sort of where we're going with electric vehicle technology is it's about innovation and disrupting where we are. So, you know, we had the old model of internal combustion engines. We're moving away from that and towards electric vehicles at the end of the day. But how do you connect all of these together? We talk about charging points. The way that we see all of this going forward, again, is huge amounts of data, cars talking to each other. When one leaves a charging point, it'll let somebody behind them know there's a space there now so that they can go in there, charge their vehicles quickly, and then be off again. Simple things like vehicles in front of you, sensing whether it's raining. It can tell the car behind it, okay, close your windows, adjust the climate control in the car. But all of this needs sensors, data, and the Internet of Things to bring it and connect it all together. An example I like to use is very much about, you know, today, when something goes wrong with our car, we have to take it into a garage. Once it's there, the engineer or the mechanic will plug his laptop in, and that's the only time he'll actually see what's wrong with that vehicle. What about if the car was already talking to the garage and saying, okay, I've got a wheel bearing here, it looks like it's going to fail in the next couple of weeks, and it works through the cloud with your diary, knowing where you're going, and says basically, in 1.5 weeks' time, I've scheduled an appointment for you, you only have to go in there, everything's ready for you, and then you're off and running again without losing the use of your vehicle.
So Richard, no one knows more about or is excited about innovation the way you are with Virgin Galactic and everything else. You know, if I asked you to pick one or two things perhaps that you're most excited about in all this panoply of innovation, what would the answer be?
Well, since we're can you hear me? Yes. Anyway,
I would like to share mine, but it's not working too well.
No. Oh, yep, we're in business. Well, I'll start back down here on with this particular formula. I mean, it can be, I think, a sort of spearheading sport for clean energy. And we're in London. In some cities, they've given the centre of their cities over the streets for this sport. And you know, I would just love to see, you know, going down Park Lane, going around Hyde Park Corner, this sport, you know, next year or the year after, and because I think for it to become a, you know, I mean, it's already done unbelievably well in this park, but it'll really bring it alive. That it could be a proper street racing, and there's a new mayor, so we'll have to see what he thinks. But anyway, that would be brilliant. As far as other innovations concerned, I mean, obviously with our space program, we're trying to make it as clean as possible. So we're trying to get people into space for you know, less than a return economy class from Los Angeles to London, and we think we can pull that off. We're using our 600 engineers who are building our spaceships to innovate in a whole lot of other areas. I mean, like we have a plane that will be taking our spaceship up and dropping it. We're trying to, we set themselves the challenge of it being 100% clean energy on that plane, with the idea that, if they can have these breakthroughs, we can then use it with commercial planes as well. We have something called the Carbon War Room, which you know about, in the Rocky Mountain Institute. They're going into countries and showing governments how they can become carbon neutral. So that they've been into China, they've mapped out a whole roadmap for China, and to a large extent China's taken it on board, and they're now beginning to do the same in various African countries, showing how they can A, save money, and B, go clean rather than building a new coal-fired power station. And obviously, if you can get a whole country to move, from the centre, that can make a big difference. And then obviously, a business that you're in, just getting out there and making sure that the 600 million Africans who don't have energy, that the energy that they do get is solar on their roofs and highly affordable and transformative for their lives.
Yes, indeed. I mean, that's vital.
You are allowed to talk. You know more than any of us on this panel. You should say a few words.
Nice of you to say so. Yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of frustrating on the solar front lines, because we have innovation of our own. It's not rocket science, but we have these sort of incremental improvements of efficiency, and of course this massive cost down from the sheer volume economies of scale. And I guess the thing that fascinates me is that on the one hand you have all this opportunity, both with the status quo and the innovation, but it's also a dangerous environment, and hence my question to Alejandro about Tesla. I mean, you're aware of the example of Stellantis. I mean, he was a company that was worth several $1 billion just a year ago, and now it's bankrupt. And that was, if you like, you could say over-innovation, because this was financial engineering. And so I have my own thoughts about that, but I'd be even more fascinated to hear your thoughts about getting the balance right. It's the choices that we make, is it not?
Yes, I mean, I think that Elon is very much a screw it, let's do it sort of person, and just sticks his neck out, and he's come within a hairbreadth of being bust 5 or 6 years ago. Would have been a great pity if he had been, but he would have bounced back pretty quickly. I mean, I'm certainly not somebody who can say that people should specialise in one area and not try new things, because for literally 50 years people have been writing Virgin off and saying this is one step too far, this is one balloon ride too much, which was nearly true. And actually by carrying on innovating, some of our original businesses like music stores have disappeared. So if we just stuck with the one business, we wouldn't be in business. As it is, we've kept on reinventing ourselves, and therefore Virgin's very much alive and well and kicking.
Thank goodness.